Hey guys, this is also coming through here, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite MOBA games that was released a long time ago. Back, I think it was about 2016, and the game was called Battleborn, the game which you're seeing right now on screen. Now, Battleborn is a game that was released alongside with Overwatch and was mainly overshadowed by that game. But despite Overwatch's popularity and all this thing and such, I ended up sticking with Battleborn and not with Overwatch. And my main reasons for that is because Battleborn was for me a gateway to finally play the MOBA games that I always wanted to play, because I always wanted to play League of Legends, but the complexity of that game and the movement of that game with like the mouse was not something I really liked. And so Battleborn really was a more simplified version of League of Legends, and it was a shooter, so it was easier for me to just get in that game and start really learning the ropes and characters. And I really got good at in Battleborn. I got to max level, and I just really liked the game because the game had so much to offer, unlike Overwatch. Back in the day, Battleborn had split screen gameplay, online and ranked. It had PvE way before Overwatch, and I don't know if Overwatch has that PvE because I'm not really sure about it. And most importantly, Battleborn actually was a skill-based game, unlike Overwatch. And some maybe will say here that, oh well, Overwatch has its own competitive thing, but the thing is that Overwatch was developed to be friendly towards the casuals and somehow trying to be like hardcore for the pros. But the thing is that you gotta have to stomach the bullshit supers in Overwatch, which were pretty overpowered sometimes, and casual players could just, really just abuse the bullshits. And Battleborn actually wasn't like that. You didn't need to actually know your loadout. You didn't know which skills you wanted to upgrade with your character. You need to actually help your team. And there was a lot of things to do other than just killing other people. You have to kill minions. You have to buy turrets, stations, and all that such. You get thralls, which are I don't know what the fuck they call, these big enemies you find in hitting spots like in League of Legends. And basically there was a whole lot of things just to do in Battleborn that was just so different from Overwatch. But since the public eye and the public opinion is always downgrade into oh, it's a battle arena hero shooter, then pretty much everyone on the planet started comparing between Overwatch and Battleborn. And this was pretty much where Gearbox was in a very bad position, because they were about to release this great game, honestly, along with Overwatch, and they didn't know Overwatch. I don't know the history, so I'm not gonna even try just to know the history, but basically the main reason why the game did not succeed as it should have is because of just Overwatch. But the thing is that it's not really just because of Overwatch. The very big problem that I know that Battleborn failed is one of the other two main things that people don't really speak about. And one of them is actually kind of new, because as someone who watches YouTube for a long ass time, I started really noticing one of the peoples in the past that I usually to see videos are the influencers of gaming. And I'm talking about people that do reviews and people that do gaming news and all this shit, but mainly the gaming news and influencers, because really the thing is that these influencers, and I don't even remember some of them, because I do know that some of them are pretty much truly an assholes, because they pretty much out of Battleborn they create a formula of this game died and dun and all this shit. But the thing is that a long time ago in the past, in the beginning of YouTube, a lot of gamers used to watch IGN and game reviews and I don't know, all these mainstream legacy gaming news media, which are still relevant, which are still present today, but they were never really, their game reviews were always not biased. They were always they were always biased. I'm not. anyways, this gaming news, these first gaming news, IGN and all the other gaming media that were present at the time, were for a lot of gamers like one of those gaming news media that always praised Call of Duty for nothing. And every time a new game that was revolutionary that came out, and IGN gave it like a score of like 7 or 6 or 8, people always in the comment section will say, oh yeah, well Gears of War 2 for them is, I don't know, 7.5 out of 10, but somehow Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 gets 10 out of 10 for these assholes. So a lot of our gamers back at the time were trying to find like alternative media, alternative YouTube channels, gaming channels that actually talked about video games more honestly and actually gave their opinion and actually go into depth about these games. And for many of us, we started watching other gaming channels like Actman, Angry Joe, which is not relevant today, who's not relevant today, and many more which I don't remember. But the thing is that in 2016-17, the gaming alternative media became the mainstream, the influencers, as we call today. And a lot of these influencers, a lot of those alternative gaming news channels really just began to produce shit videos where they just talk straight out of their asses, and they never really go into depth as to why quote unquote Overwatch is better than Battleborn. And and to this day I still remember one of the most stupidest claims I've ever fucking heard from one of these channels that I don't remember, is that Overwatch is more enjoyable than Battleborn. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, you fucking idiot? One of them is a MOBA game, one of them is a fucking Team Fortress fucking game like. And the amounts of idiots that always like give the most stupidest excuses as to why Battleborn failed, it's always the same thing. The only fucking reason is that Battleborn did not succeed is because Overwatch overshadowed it. That's it. There's nothing more that this game was better than that. There's nothing like no, there's nothing that. There is only one thing that you can add as an extra, which the recent gaming news that started covering Battleborn's quote unquote death. Alright. A lot of them don't know is that one of the other reasons as to why the game failed is because Gearbox was in a very bad position, and the reason for that is because that Aliens Colonial Marines, which was a very bad game produced by them, was getting backlash. And the CEO, whatever the guy, whatever his position is at Gearbox, Jeff something, really just made stupid posts on Twitter. And the guy was just a meme. The guy was literally a meme, a joke, a clown for many of them. And I don't want to be mean to Jeff because I'm not against him in this case. But he really did not know how to handle public opinion and the whole gaming culture. And he's one of those little reasons, but still having an effect on Battleborn's reputation, because his posts, I don't want to say one of his posts was, because I do remember that he made one cringe post, but to say the least, he was a part of Battleborn's bad reputation. But the thing is that the main point I want to bring in the video and this is literally like third one, is the influencers. The influencers of today, the gaming channels you see on YouTube, many of them are just straight up people who just don't know how to play video games. They play it very casually, and they only select a few of these video games that they actually like, and they actually invest in those games. And when these video game influencers start their video game reviews collection, many of these like reviews, they try like to reach not rush them out, but like they don't actually learn the game. Alright, and for me, I know this from like two encounters. I know this from Battleborn, and I know this for Devil May Cry. Now, before I go into Devil May Cry, in the case of Battleborn, like many of those gamers don't really know about Battleborn, and for good reasons, because Battleborn today isn't playable unless you install a mod called Battleborn Reborn, which is how I actually got this gameplay recorded today. But many of these gamers, even back at the time, I can bet to you that they barely played Battleborn, and they just played more Overwatch. So their own opinion is just like, oh yeah, so it's the same Overwatch, right? But it's Gearbox, so it's bad. Or I don't know. I really don't know. But to this day, I still find like from 3 years ago, and maybe 2 years ago, like you can go back and just search for like Battleborn's dead, Battleborn failed, whatever, and you can just see that almost each time someone says it, they're gonna say the one thing that they know. They're gonna say that Overwatch overshadowed Battleborn, and that's it. Everything else that they say in their mouths just doesn't make sense. As for me that actually knows the reason why, because I played the Battleborn, and I tried like my best to show how the game is great, right? But the thing is that influencers pretty much helped. Pretty much just. I don't know how to say this, but influencers have became one of those weapons video game companies can use and publishers can use, or not use, but because you know they need to pay them, but whatever. But these influencers can really just spit on a game's reputation in the most stupidest way. No, stupid, but just influencers. I just don't know how to even say it, but the influencers are basically just just do a bad video game takes, news takes in general. They don't know what they're talking about. And you know, the thing is that actually, if they actually invest time back when Battleborn was actually playable, these influencers can actually find that Battleborn has a lot more to offer than Overwatch. That's the thing that nobody really talks about. Right? Despite the fact that Battleborn had PvE, had PvP, had many interesting modes to play with, both for casuals and for well, actually, I would say average gamers and pro players, right? Really says a lot about the game. You know, the game has its own dedicated fans. Does not cater towards casuals. Well, it does cater towards casuals with the PvE. But the thing is that none of these influencers ever talk about it. And why does nobody ever talk about the fact that Battleborn had the option for a split screen in online PvP and PvE? It's just something that amazes me, and I can never get the reason why. But yeah, fuck the influencers. And now that Overwatch is now getting spitted on by many of these influencers that are now praising the fuck out of Marvel Rivals, I think it was the best time to release this video. Because if I released this video back when influencers still started trash talking on Battleborn, then this wouldn't have any effect. But because right now Marvel Rivals is now getting praised by many, and at the same time Overwatch is getting roasted for its predatory macro tank. I don't know what the fuck is going on for Overwatch. I'll be honest. I don't play it. Never liked it. I know that Overwatch 2 is just an expansion of Overwatch 1. The PvE is shit. I just don't know why people get the appeal. But really the only thing, one of the main reasons why Overwatch has the appeal is really just because of the publisher's amount of money they can spend on fucking marketing the game. And let's not forget the fucking fan base, which is filled with horny casuals. They're just oh my god, the amount of like characters that were sexualized by these horny gamers. I mean, my god. And I mean, do whatever you want, man. I don't care. But it's like the things that make people want to play games is just so stupid. Like you can even see it like back in 2014. Back. We're in the start of 2015, 2025. Sorry, in 2000. Actually, 2014. I can't believe this. Let me rephrase my dumbass self. In 2024, alright, Stellar Blade from the Korean people came out, and really, the only thing this game has to offer is how the chick looks beautiful. And besides that, when I see the gameplay of that Stellar Blade, I see like, is that like a sort of like a hack and slash, sort of like Dark Souls kind of game? And I'm just looking at the game and I'm like, oh god, it's another shit fucking hack and slash. And I'm a guy that loves quick hack and slash games, but Stellar Blade, it looks like an open world, looks like a Nier Automata wannabe. And in all honesty, I just fucking hate open world games. I just don't give a shit about them. And what can I say? What can I say, man? Like, people are just fucking horny, and they'll buy every fucking game that has a beautiful chick in that fucking game. Like, I get it. The game is colorful, and the butt is grabbable. But I mean, come on. You want to play a video game, okay? If you wanna do your stuff, you know, in incognito, you know. But that's about that. And while I'm on my way to bash those stupid influencers, I think that I'm gonna give my opinion quick opinion about the same assholes, and many of those assholes that I know, on Devil May Cry. Now, I'm not gonna speak about why style switching in Devil May Cry is not good. I'm not gonna speak about it because that's where I'm not going with this video. What I actually want to go is actually the amount of reviews, or quote unquote reviews, because they're not, because they're just dick sucking, dick riding, fucking goddamn the Devil May Cry community. Alright, when it comes to reviewing Devil May Cry 4, almost every main influencer that I know, other than Gaming Brit, who is a total simp for Devil May Cry, but whatever. Other than him, most of them, if not all of them, whenever they review Devil May Cry 4, they chicken out. They just can't be honest with themselves. They just say, yeah, Devil May Cry 4 is great. Yeah, it has flaws, but it's a great game. Yeah, you know, and you can just see the amount of pussiness coming out of their mouths whenever they fucking goddamn try to quote unquote critique Devil May Cry 4. Yes, that fucking game I'm talking about. The game that is so overly praised by nothing. It's a half-baked game, and you can just see how the Devil May Cry community will just will just fucking attack anyone that dares to say that game sucks. And I really don't get it. I really don't get it. Actually, well, I do get it, because Devil May Cry 4 is stuck in everybody's mind, and Dungaree made such a great job marketing the game as this air combo fest, and really it's not his fault, because there were a lot of gamers that did that, but Devil May Cry 4's vision of making air combat was not about air combos, it was about air combat. But it was poorly made, and I actually started working on a video where I really just go into as to why I don't think Devil May Cry 4 is not a good game. But I stopped midway because I just have more important things to do in my life. So, you know, other than Devil May Cry 4 being a half-baked game, and by that I mean, as people say, that it has missing levels for Dante. Other than that, nobody ever talks about how Dante in Devil May Cry 4 feels more stiff than he is in Devil May Cry 5 and in Devil May Cry 3. Nobody ever talks about that, you know. And I think if there's something I want to go over, other than how influencers are afraid of reviewing Devil May Cry 4, and it's actually more of an old thing, because today influencers are actually trying to give DMC reboot the credit for it being different. But it is interesting to see that as time goes, influencers change their mind on games. Alright, back in the day, people bashed DMC reboot back and forth, and me included, because I didn't like DMC reboot because of how different it was from the original Devil May Cry series. Actually, when I played the gameplay back at the time, I did quite enjoy it, but I didn't like the fact that the core controls of Devil May Cry were just not in there. But I played last year in 2024 DMC reboot on my PS4, and it felt so refreshing to play that game, and I actually really started to like that game. And so, well, actually I'm going nowhere. So let me just finish this random video I created, because let me just end on a positive note for Battleborn. Currently, right now, you can play Battleborn with a mod called Battleborn Reborn, which is very easy. You download some zip file or 7-zip whatever, and you just extract the files on the Battleborn Steam game, and it works pretty easily. It is restrictive, and if you still have a copy of Battleborn, you can still play it with that. However, you can only play with bots, sadly. I don't know where the game is headed, but I do know that Gearbox did re-release another I would say MOBA game. I don't know what it's called, Paragon or not Paladins, but another game that I don't remember its name. And they re-released it. I do not know. Actually, let me check out. I'm gonna pause my recording right now. I'm gonna check if this game is still relevant, and I'm gonna say its name. So wait a minute. Actually, now that I'm just checking out, I don't remember the game's name. But anyways, I do have to make one correction. Jeff was the guy that made the news videos about Battleborn, and he was in charge of that game. And the guy that actually made the cringy post is actually Randy Pitchford. I got confused by the two. Let me just check out if I can find that game. Oh, fuck it, I tried to search for it, but I couldn't find it. Anyways, I know there's one MOBA-like game, hero game, that Gearbox resurrected. And if Gearbox can bring back Battleborn free to play, I think maybe now, or maybe just a little bit later, after Marvel Rivals hype is a little bit down, maybe they can re-release it, and maybe they can get some attraction for that game. But anyways, guys, The summary of this video is that don't trust influencers. Influencers don't know what they're talking about. They make shit takes about anything that is about video games. This includes the mainstream ones, the popular ones, the niche ones, everyone. If you wanna check out someone's like review on a video game or a take, just be careful. Just listen to them carefully. And if it's about Devil May Cry 4, you would just best just not even listen to them, because these guys would pussy out against the community. Other than that, guys, I hope you're enjoying my little gameplay against the bots with Alani, one of my favorite healers of the Battleborn. And other than that, what can I say? It's great to shit on Overwatch finally. It's just the fucking shitty. It was a shitty game for casuals. They tried to somehow make it look like it's for pros as well, but it's just not. It's just not. It's just fucking not. It's just the overpopularity of that fucking game that really caught the eye of people, and it's because of Gearbox's shitty reputation at the time, and Blizzard's actually had one of the greatest highs in their years of developing video games was back in 2016. But I'm just repeating myself, guys. What can I say more? Yeah, may Battleborn be reborn. May Overwatch be Underwatch. And fucking influencers for their shitty takes. And if you ever want to be an influencer in your life, please don't be a fucking pussy. If you're gonna critique a game as is. Don't bullshit me that you like that the game is flawed but still good. And yeah, let's hope that the modder can bring some true PvP to Battleborn. And yeah, have a great fucking day.